I want to change my spark plug wires from looking like this to looking like this. What's up guys, my name is Andy. In this video, I want to change my spark plug wires to something that's a little more organized and less kind of chaotic. If you guys recall, I just got done putting this 347 motor in here, and the firing order on this motor is different than the 289 that I had in my car. I had made a video about making custom length spark plug wires for that 289 where I wrapped them around the valve cover, and they looked all right. They looked cleaner than just, just throwing some wires on there. But because of this new firing order, I just had to take the wires and stretch them out and make them reach where I could based on which cylinder needed to go, to which part of the distributor. And it just looks like I just threw the wires on there, and I don't want that. I want something that's cleaner to kind of go along with the rest of the theme where I've tried to clean up my engine bay and tuck wires. Like I've got wires that are tucked into the fenders now and stuff, just to clean this up and kind of that less is more kind of a look, but it's not a full wire tuck, but just clean it up. So what I want to do is I'm going to change this. I've seen some pictures out there of them wrapping the spark plug wires around the valve covers, but the brackets or the wire holders, I've never been able to find the ones I like. And I recently found some that I really like, which I'll show you here in a minute. And I think this is going to really clean this up and make it look a lot better. So I've got some new some new spark plug wires, and then these new holders or spark plug wire, organization system. We're going to put that together and get that all installed. So let's head over to the bench and I'll show you what we're going to install. So the first part are the spark plug wires. In fact, there's the part number if you guys need that. And what I've got here are just some spark plug wires, and I chose these partially for two reasons. One, I do like the 45-degree spark plug boot. On my current setup, I have the 90-degree boot, and I don't like the way it rests against the header and stuff like that. So I do like this style a little bit better. And then these are 9mm insulated wires, and the clips that I have to hold them need a 9mm. The 8.5mm, the wires that I have on the car now, just aren't quite thick enough for these holders that I'll show you. So that's another reason why I went with this set. The problem is, and this is on me, I wasn't paying attention, but I also don't think that they offer the set that I'm looking for from this company, is that these spark plug boots for the distributor are the style, what they call the GM style or the HEI style, where they kind of clip onto you've got all those studs sticking out of the distributor cap, whereas the Fords have like the female sockets where like, for example, like this piece right here, for like the coil, it goes down inside the distributor. And I ordered these, I wasn't paying attention, but I looked on their website and I don't think they offer these with the right connectors. So I had to buy a different set of connectors. And that's where these tailors come in. Here's the part number for those if you guys need that. And this is the style of connector that we need to hook up to the distributor cap. And then of course it has the boots, and this is everything we need to finish this job. And the magic sauce is going to be these spark plug wire holders. So here's a whole set I got. So what I have is I've got a 4-wire, then a 3-wire, then a 2-wire, and then I've got an extra 4-wire piece that I'll show you where we're going to put that. And then you got the same thing for the other side. And we're going to use the bolt hole location in the valve covers to mount these set up here. These are just anodized aluminum pieces. And like I was saying before, the 8.5mm doesn't quite, when you put it on there, it can slide around, and I want these to hold the wires in place. So that's why I went with these 9mm setup. So this is what we're going to install in the car. In the car right now, I've got I have studs actually for the valve covers, so I need to pull those studs out where I'm going to put these in place and get all that stuff set up, and then we can start laying this out in the car, because these are all cut to the same length, but they're not going to be the same length when we're done. So we'll go through and we'll get them all installed, and then we'll mark them, and then I'll show you how we're going to crimp these connectors on here and get it all done. So like I was saying before, because these are routed all kind of all over the place, the stuff I'm going to have set up here, the wires are going to come over, they're going to meet with those wire holders, and then it's going to just wrap perfectly right around the front of this. And we're going to do that by cutting them to length, and we'll cut the end of the wire that comes this way. So we'll put them on the spark plugs and then route them through those little connector pieces all the way up to here, and then we'll mark where the wire needs to be cut to install that. I'm going to go ahead and take off the air cleaner just to get out of the way, and I'm also going to move this Monte Carlo bar just to make it simpler while we're doing this. This is not in the way. If you have one of these in your car, I'm just going to remove it so that we can easily show this installation. And then we need to get these studs out of here. Like I was saying, I've got these studs, which I thought was a pretty slick setup. So when you take these valve covers off and on, those studs can help hold the gaskets in place instead of having to stick them to the bottom side of the valve cover. But I'm gonna need those holes for these spark plug wire holders. All right, I don't know if it was any faster to take this valve cover off, but trying to get those studs up, particularly down here, when you gotta add that net on there to drive them together to pull that thing out. I don't know, just taking it off worked, but I don't know if it was any faster. So now we wanna put the spark plug wire holders in with the fasteners. It's gonna do two jobs. It's gonna hold the spark plug wire and it's gonna hold the valve cover down. So we put those in place and we'll screw them down. And I think we'll come back and we'll tighten all this stuff up at the end just till we get everything in place where we want it. So another slick feature about these spark plug wires is they've got the number of the cylinder on there. So if you ever needed to trace a wire just to make sure it was going in the right place, I do like that they number that. I had little clips on my other wires, but this is slick, I like that. So with this 45-degree boot, I think it'll fit better with my headers. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the wires in and then we can route them through the clips up to the distributor cap. So it's kind of hard to see, the lighting's not the best, but I've got these things routed now, and I like how this comes around here and it's all uniform, and this is something that, this is what I was looking for the last time I was doing these spark plug wires, but I think this is a lot better. You could buy a different one. In fact, there's another one you can buy for the back to hold this wire up here, but I don't think it's needed considering the way that it sits. I mean, you could order it. But then this rest of this is sitting pretty good. And then I've got that other clip that I could put right here or right here. That looks like this guy, and it's a standalone. It's not a mount on there, and you could put it. I'm just going to put it on the outside, but it would clean up these just a little bit more if you clipped it from the backside, or you could clip it up top up here and just organize this a little bit better, whatever you want. Or you might not need it. I think I'm going to put it right here when I get done, just to keep this more uniform and looking really good. So now we need to get ready to clip the wires up top. And like I mentioned before, I have a little bit different firing order than the standard motor that's in these cars, but that's okay. It doesn't matter the firing order for the process of clipping these, but I just wanted to point that out. So if you're following this video for your 289 that's in your classic Mustang, make sure you get the right firing order. And for my car, I need to follow this one. So if I got cylinder number 1, which is actually right here on my distributor, then it goes 1, 8, 4, 5, 6, 2, 7, 3. So I want to route the wires and get them close to where they're going to be, and then I'm going to show you how then we'll mark them. And since this is cylinder number 8, this is what the clip's going to look like, and we're going to put it in here, and this is how it's going to sit. So where do I want to cut this wire? Well, I'm going to probably bring in the end of the wire to just past these pieces here, these ears, because they're going to crimp those over. So if I put that on there, and I'm going to probably cut the wire right about here, just after the 8. And I'm going to do the same thing for all these. I'm going to go through and mark all of them, and then I can take them off, and then we'll start crimping them. All right, I got all these marked. Let's go ahead and take them off and bring them over to the bench, and we can start cutting them and getting them crimped for the new fittings. Now we're ready to cut these to the custom length. You know, I got my mark on here, and what I'm going to use is just some wire cutters just to cut this off, and then I'm going to cut the sheath back using this kind of crimper tool because it's got a place for me to cut the sheath and to crimp this connector. Now if you don't have something like this MSD crimper, ones like this or similar that have maybe a little bit different end, but it has this kind of end on the inside here where you got the U shape there and the kind of a W shape. You can use that part right there to crimp this end of the connector. You don't need to have something fancy, but I have them from my last time I did these wires. So, and remember, once you cut these guys, there's no going back. So hopefully you got the right spot. We're gonna cut that off. And I want about a 1/2 inch of wire. You know, before we would just we would make it flush with this edge if you were doing the spark plug end, but because we're doing the distributor cap end, we want something around about that amount exposed. So we'll twist it like so. And then this should just come right off like that. And then we're exposing this core. And we're going to want to take this core, actually before we do that, we're going to want to pinch these closed just a little bit so it'll hold the wire. You're going to pinch this back and lay this down side there so that this wire is laying on the back side of this. And we're going to push it in here to right about like that. But before we do that, I forgot, we got to put this boot on. And the easiest way to do that is we're going to use some dielectric grease. And we're just going to put a little bit here on the inside of this boot, and that will help grease this thing up so that we can slide this boot over the wire. I should have done that before I cut this off, but we'll be fine. So we put this in here. It's going to be a little bit of a tight fit, but that's okay. And you slide it all the way down. And if you bend this boot kind of back like so, you can kind of push this through. And you don't need a lot of it sticking out, but just enough so that we can get this end crimped on. Okay, now we can go back to doing this. Remember, we fold this over. Put that on there, about like so. And I'm going to use this U shape will be for the backbone, and this W shape will be the top here. There we go. Now that wire is crimped behind, the core is crimped behind there. This is crimped down, and then we can just go ahead and slide this boot back over it. You might have to twist a little bit to get it to line up right. There. And you want this part right here to be centered in the boot as best as you can. and there, that'll work. So that's just how you do one wire, and then we're gonna do the same thing on the other 4, and then you'll be set. All right, now we got the whole driver's side done. Let's go ahead and put this in the car and see how it came out. All right, guys, so we got everything plugged back in and got the wires all routed around the corner, and it just cleans things up really well. I really like the way this is done. There's a little bit of a learning curve trying to figure out how to make this curve around here to go perfect. I think I might have cut my number 5 cylinder just a pinch too short. And you know, you can give yourself a little extra room, but then you got some slop either up here or down there. I guess the nice thing is if you wanted this to be all nice and straight, you could give yourself a little bit bigger of a loop, you know, down here on the bottom where the spark plug boot is here. I don't know. But I like how that looks. It is so much better than my last setup. Definitely the, you know, where the wires were just a little bit ago, but on my last car when I tried to redo this, it just didn't come out as nice as this. And this just looks like we're trying hard, and that's what I like. These little pieces right here, this fits a little bit nicer, but it is pretty tight on these clips here because I think this is made for 8.5 millimeter and these are 9 millimeter wires. So, but it's a nice snug fit and nothing moves, and I just really like how that looks. So I need to go ahead and get the passenger side done. All right, I went ahead and got the wires all routed up and tucked around the corner. I'm not sure I'm wild about where the dipstick is because it kind of wraps behind the wire here, and then this coolant line for the heater is almost in the way. But anyways, this is gonna be fine. I mean, there's not a lot I can do about this stuff. I don't want to lose the heater, and I don't know if I can't really move that, so maybe I can put it in front. I don't know. I'll figure something out. I did notice up here as I was kind of getting everything outlined. You know, this is just something that, you know, it's for the firing order that I have. It'd be different if you have a different firing order, but I noticed that this is number 4, and really, you know, it really should just come right across here and dip in like that. The problem is I've got this number 6 in the way, and I should have routed number 6 around the front, and it would have looked cleaner. And that's just something that, you know, this is just my inexperience on that, but it's a heads up to you guys. Maybe you should route all the wires like this and kind of figure out where everything's gonna go before you cut the first set. I was just trying to do one set and then do the other set, but this is probably not the best way. So anyway, just a heads up on that. So now I'll go ahead and get these cut and get the ends crimped on and then put it back in the car. All right, guys, so this is all routed and done. You know, this again, like I was saying before, there's a little bit of a learning curve to try to figure out how to make these things perfect. And you don't want them wrapped so tight that they don't work, but I don't want a bunch of extra, you know, slack in it where we just have a spaghetti kind of a mess going on. Again, like I was saying, this number 4 cylinder one, I'm just not wild how that's being ran. And I wish I would have done that differently, but it is what it is. So, all right, so everything else is on here. And I think this looks pretty good. I just need to do the coil, and then we're done with the wires. All right, putting the last wire on here, and I kind of decided that I wanted to go through underneath here and kind of tuck it in, you know, underneath these wires. I thought about just coming right off the top and just having a short wire. And I don't think the length of the wire, you know, this length is going to make a difference, but I did want to be able to have some flexibility that I took out of these. I mean, because these are wrapped so tightly, they're going to work, but there's just no room, there's no wiggle room for anything. And I thought maybe I'd create some with this one. Okay, so that is the installed set of wires. So guys, that's it. That is a new set of custom spark plug wires installed. This is much more of what I was trying to do the last time I had done these wires, and a big part of it are these wire clips that I've got here, and those are from Billet Specialties. I ordered it from them. I saw another place using them, and I was really liking the way that it came out, so looked them up and ordered a set, and I'm just happy with how it came out. This is so much better than the stuff that I had before. And again, those Ford Race and the Ford Performance or whatever it's called, those spark plug wires, because they're 9 millimeter, they fit a little bit tighter in those clips, which works out great. And then I had to get those Taylor boots for the top here because I've got that female socket style distributor cap. So other than that, guys, this is again, this is what I wanted. Like I was mentioning also before, there's like a learning curve to it, just trying to figure out how to route these things so that they look uniform and you know, look like we're trying to create that shape of wrapping it around the valve covers. Some of you guys, this is not a big deal. You just happy just to have the wires go wherever. No big deal. I'm just trying to clean up this engine bay, and I'm getting closer as I dial this stuff in and just kind of clean this up and make it look, you know, more presentable and that kind of stuff. So I'm very happy with it. So guys, oh, and just one last chance. Don't forget, you guys can get these the KruseBuilt t-shirts. So still have those on my website if you wanted to pick one of those up and then help my channel out. I appreciate it. So, all right, guys, that's it. Spark plug wires are done. If you guys like the video, give me a thumbs up. And if you subscribe, I appreciate it because it helps my channel out. And we'll see you in the next one.